Okay, so before we deal with this vocal sample, let's do something that's a little more transparent, a little easier to understand, and that would be a beat. Okay? So I'm going to add a drum loop in here. Now keep in mind, we are playing at 101 BPM. That's our tempo of our whole session. I'm going to add this loop in. Now this loop is at 140 BPM. Okay, it's significantly faster. I know that because it's written into the file name. So let's add that in. Now, look what happened. It automatically arranged itself to be 4 bars long. Actually, 2 bars long. It arranged itself to be 2 bars long exactly. Now, what are the odds that 101 divides into 140 perfectly? 0. So what happened was Live adjusted the tempo of this file kind of radically. So remember, it sounded like this. But now in our session, it sounds like this. I'll solo it. Okay, so it went super fast. That was Live's guess, was to go super fast. We could tell it to go the other way and go super slow. So now we're slowing it down so that it fits into our structure a little bit better. So what all that means is that it's going to blend with our other beats perfectly. Let's hear everything together. Right? It's totally in time because it's warped. Live figured out what was going on and adjusted it correctly. So let's look at some of the settings here. If we look at this segment BPM that says 140, that means Live thinks that this clip is 140 BPM. Okay? That it's analyzed it and it's figured that out, that it's 140 BPM. And it happens to be right because we know what its tempo is it's 140 BPM. What that means is that if this is 140, then Live has to do some math to get this to play at this 101. And it knows the calculation it has to do to get this in the right speed to play at 101. And it's always going to do it. That's one of the big advantages of Live, is that it's going to say, okay, you've drug a clip in here that is 140 BPM, but you're telling me that you want me to play it at 101 BPM. Cool, I will figure that out for you. And that's what it does. Cool, and it makes kind of a cool groove right there. I actually kind of dig it. Let's pull that out and loop it a little bit more. So if we wanted to tell Live, don't do that, just leave it exactly how it is, play it at 140, we can turn warping off with this button right here. Okay? Now warping is turned off, and it's going to play this at exactly 140, its original unaltered tempo, in our session. Right? And it's a total mess. So we don't want to do that. So let's turn warping back on. And now everything locks right into the beat. Okay? So in this case, what happened was Live did an analysis of this file and it figured out what the BPM was and it adjusted it correctly. Now let's say that analysis doesn't go perfect. In this case, it got it right, but it doesn't always go right. So sometimes you have to help Live figure it out. So let's go to a new video and talk about how you adjust the warp settings for when Ableton doesn't get it right.